thank you for being here. This is a small talk about using your smartphone to capture the 3D stuff. And then I'm not going to lie to you. It's not the best tool for 3D capture nor for 3D printing, but it's a tool that is available for most of us. That it's in our pockets, and it can do so many amazing things beyond just consuming information. I think it's very important to enable and to find ways to use these kind of tools in our practices, either our pedagogical practices, but also on our personal creative practices. I don't know about you, but I can't go through one day without creating something, even if just a photo, etc. It's very depressing to have one of those days in which you only do work stuff and then don't add anything new to the world. Okay, I'm going to dive into. So basically, why using 3D scanning? Maybe for me, one of the most important ones, you can always point, okay, so digital fabrication, prototyping, reverse engineering, etc. But I'm more of an arts guy, arts and culture. And for me, the idea of digital heritage, of preserving digital heritage and showing the outcomes, the artifacts of different cultures around the world, and having them accessible on the web in 3D forms in ways that go beyond photography is for me extremely important. One of the probably most talked about websites on this kind of approaches is maybe Sketchfab, because it allows any user to upload 3D content, and it's one of the richest places on the web to find digital heritage. Lots of museums, galleries, personal artists, creators that share a bit of the cultural world. I also like to point out that it can be extremely important in terms of preserving the history and culture of specific areas. Uh, One of the projects that is hosted in Sketchfab, or actually uses Sketchfab to showcase what they do. It's a Portuguese project called Morbaz. Uh, it's focused on a small area in Alentejo, and its focus is to scan, to digitize the architectural and sculptoric heritage. And through that, people from around the world can interact, can see in 3D, can have a feeling, a volumetric feeling of our local heritage. I'm not from Alentejo, of course, but this is one of the projects that I enjoy to talk about most. And of course, you can also, how can I say this? You can bring the physical to the virtual and then make it physical again by 3D printing. It has lots of uses. You can just find ways to decorate your personal spaces, your office, your library with statues and works of art from around the world, or you can bring them to your classroom. I like to say to my when I talk about 3D printing in education to arts teachers, I always tell them, look, you can show them lots of photos of a sculpture, but it's extremely enriching for your students to actually touch the sculpture. Uh, of course, being assuming, of course, that it is a reproduction and not the real thing, but it gives you an extra edge. And if you are in special education, you know the power that touching has, especially for students that are vision impaired. So another way to use 3D scanning in terms of education and cultural awareness. So, what technologies can we use for 3D scanning around our realities. Mostly it comes down to two, photogrammetry and Lidar scanning. Lidar scanning and other types of scanning are on the upper end, which you need rather expensive devices and powerful computers to process the polygonal meshes. Or on the low end, but quite complicated photogrammetry, in which you use photos to generate 3D meshes of spaces. And how can I say this? In an accessible but not perfect way, using a smartphone. You can use a smartphone for photos to to create photogrammetry models, or you can use, if you have uh, iPhones from the Pro brand, you can use the LiDAR sensor to connect volumetric data with photography and generate 3D models. And that's actually what I do best, because it's discrete. I don't have to go into a museum with a LiDAR scanner or a huge camera. I can just look like I'm doing a TikTok. The um, the room attendants or the security guys never pay attention to a smartphone, so you can record heritage and then recreate in 3D. So for using photogrammetry, the best pipeline is always using your computer, and especially I'm very much a fan of this open source solution, Mushroom. You take a lot of photos from one object, and then the pipeline will give you a 3D model. But that's not what I'm going to talk to you today. I'm just going to do a small overview of this. So if you can, Mushroom is great, but it's open source. You have to do a lot of the work yourself, a lot of the parameters, what is best, what is worse. And there are commercial softwares that are, how can I say, not better, but more streamlined. All the work has already been done for us. So 3DF Zephyr is one of those ones, and this also has a very cool feature in which you don't have to use photos. You can use small videos, and it's faster like that. In terms of using on the smartphone, there are today lots of apps that take advantage either of photography and or other sensors on the smartphones, specifically LiDAR on iOS, and of course that also take advantage of the processing power of your smartphone. One of my favorites is Scaniverse. If we have the time, I'll show you in the smartphone how it works. It's for me quite magical, because for free I can use I can 3D scan, and I can also do Gaussian splats. If this sounds shiny for you now, it won't sound at the end of the session. There are other options. Another application that I really like to use to capture the reality around me is Polycam, but in most cases I revert to Scaniverse, because Scaniverse is free. Polycam is not free if you use photogrammetry assets. And of course, in the Android world, there are the Android counterparts of Scaniverse and Polycam, and lots more of applications that allow you to do smartphone 3D scanning. I'm not going to say which one is the best or the worst, and any of you that is interesting needs to do a personal path and invest, experiment, and see which solution works better for you. It's extremely unfair to say this software is the best because I liked it. No, for other people can be another type of software. So one of the cool things about artificial intelligence is that gave us a new way to see the world, and a new way to see the world in 3D. A couple of years ago, okay, two maybe, which in AI terms is like, centuries. A couple of years ago, some guys, in researchers dropped a technology called neural radiance fields, and I really love neural radiance fields because it goes more or less like this, very grosso modo. You take a video, and an machine learning algorithm learns the video and recreates the video in a 3D scene. And for me, that's amazing, because as you'll see in going forwards, 2D scanning has lots of problems, and NeRF allows us to not overcome them, but find new ways to have new problems and new fun problems. Nowadays, it's mostly used to cross with another technique called Gaussian splatting, which allows you to reproduce 3D 3D information volumetric without drawing meshes. But NeRFs are an amazing tool. Nowadays, uh, using only the power of your smartphone, you can actually do this thing. You don't need to do cloud processing. Of course, cloud processing is better for more advanced projects. But using, for example, Scaniverse nowadays uses Gaussian splat. You can choose which technique you want. You can use Lidar classic, photogrammetry, or Gaussian splat, and your phone processes all the information, trains the model, and then allows you to interact in 3D with the scene that you have just captured. Having said this, there are some small. Just going to take this zoom viewer out of the way. There are some small, can I say, technical advices that I have if you are new to 3D scanning and you want to do it using the low-cost way, which is using smartphone photography or LiDAR scanning if you have access to an iPhone. Okay, so the first thing is that don't expect perfection. It's very rare to achieve perfection. If you get a perfect scan, yay, amazing. It's basically 1 in a million. Okay, not 1 in a million, but 1 in 500,000. Most of your scans will be bad. Some of your scans will be a disaster, and some of your scans will be so bad that it will be fun to look at them because they will be very humorous. Because problem number one, luminosity. Traditional 3D scanning with photogrammetry and enabled also by LiDAR has a terrible time with a reflexive surface or transparent surfaces. So if you think you can scan through a glass, don't work. It won't work that way. But if you look into this scanning in this way as a way to express yourself and find new ways to view things and to find new perspectives and new aesthetics, that's the word I was trying to use, that maybe the errors and the reflections can be a good thing because it allows us to have more creative outcomes. Another thing is the basics. What is the best way to scan? For me, it's the classic technique. You just walk around an object, taking photos, taking videos. It kind of depends on which app you're using. If you are using traditional photogrammetry, you have to take a photo, take a photo, take a photo. If you are using apps like Scaniverse, like Polycam, they ease the job for you. For you, it looks like you are taking a video, but in actuality, the software is actually photographing stuff. If you are using NeRFs or Gaussian splatting, it is like doing a video. And the idea is always to do spiraling circular motions around the object, trying to capture several viewpoints from below to high to low, etc. Another thing is understanding the limits. Don't expect to go into a basilica or a huge church or a huge monument with your smartphone and think that you are going to do an outstanding capture. You won't. These technologies work. You can do that with very specific hardware, with very good cameras, lots of work, but in a fast way, you just can't. So this tool I think, is pretty great to capture heritage at the human scale. Statues, small spaces that we inhabit or interact, something that places that are proximal to us. And of course, bear in mind that LiDAR, of course, by definition, is an infinite, but the sensors top the range at 5 meters the most, so details beyond that won't be captured. And of course, this is always present in my mind when I scan in a museum or a public space. I don't want to be the guy that appears on the newspaper or on on the telejournal. Okay, no, I forgot the English translation on on television as, oh, he was doing scanning on a museum and he broke a priceless Roman statue. I don't want to be that guy. So first things first, be mindful of where you are, pay attention to your surroundings. Check if the museum or the space that you are into does limitations on photographics or video captures. Sometimes just talk to the people at the receptions. Tell them, "Oh, look, I see you forbid photography in your museum." Yes, we do, but I'd like to do some 3D scanning. And sometimes they look at me and say, "Oh, you see the monitor over there in which we are seeing the visitors through the video cameras?" Yes, I am. I'm not going to look while you are inside the room, so feel free. Uh, but if we talk about these things and we are open about what we do, people generally understand, and then they love to see the outcomes, etc. As for the main presentation, I'm done. Okay, as I've said, I'm not. I don't intend to do a deep overview. It's very important to note that these techniques that I'm talking about here are not high-end, are not perfect. Uh, if you want to achieve great results or in a professional setting, you have to get professional equipment and also uh, develop your techniques at the professional level. This is more of a pedagogical rather or self-expression. It's a bit mix between 3D scanning and photography in which you can view in 3D. Now, I would like to show you some outcomes using NeRFs and using Lidar scanning. But before that, I'm open to any questions that you guys have. I'm still sharing, I know.
Yeah, you have about 5 minutes till the end, so you are perfect on your presentation there.
Okay, actually, I think I should have I should have spoken faster because I really didn't want to spend so much time. Okay, so
Question. Um,
yeah,
I've been dabbling in some 3D scanning, and I'm interested in the on the very first slide you had, or the second slide maybe, there was a site and I didn't catch it. I'd like to know
okay,
how.
that's
First
what I'm
off,
going to show you now.
it's number, I guess it's slide 2 there, I think.
It's this, right? Sketchfab.
Yes.
Okay, so
Sketch that.
Sketchfab is a great service. It's actually an old service I've been using for more than 10, 15 years. Yes, I'm that old. And Sketchfab was created to allow 3D creators to publish content on the web. Because before Sketchfab, what could we do? We could do a video render,
Mhm.
or we could do some still shots of the 3D model. Sketchfab allows you to do this. You can upload your 3D content and then it's viewable in 3D. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, in more, you can also annotate, create viewpoints, create, how can I say, percursos. No, sorry, my English is failing me. I spent the week
Sorry.
studying, guys, but I think you are getting it. You can enable several viewpoints, and people can do a guided tour between
Mhm.
your models. So what you are seeing right now is actually a Gaussian splat capture made in Scaniverse. Okay. There was this is a rather big space with which I could not capture using LiDAR, and Scaniverse does a very great job at rendering Gaussian splats in Scaniverse, but they use a proprietary format which only translates into point cloud. This is why you are seeing a
Okay.
dot of clouds and not the texturized objects. So showing a bit of what Sketchfab allows you to do. These are a lot of my scans. Sorry, I'm not here showing the best or the worst. Just some scans that I do everywhere I go. I bring my smartphone. The smartphone is in your pocket, so it's discreet. You can always pick it up and do a scan if you find something interesting. Like for example, you visit the Merida Museum of Roman Arts, and it's It's one of the places in which you spend the entire morning just scanning things. This was scanned using a smartphone, okay? So there are, of course, imperfections, and you are looking at this and thinking, I could 3D print this, right?
Hmm. That was my next question. If you 3D print any of these, that you
Yes, but so one of the cool things about 3D phone scanning is that you have the high-powered cameras of your smartphone working for you. So the textures look great. And if I download this model, you quickly see that it's the textures that make the advantage. Because if I download this, you see that details disappear. So what here look like very detailed elements actually are just photographic textures. The final result will be less detailed. So if you are scanning something that is simple, it will print just fine, because most of these softwares allow you to do the scan and then export as GLB, OBJ, STL, point cloud, whichever format you prefer.
Mhm.
Okay, for me, the technology I'm going to show you right now feels magical. It's NeRFs, the neural radiance fields coupled with Gaussian splat. Now things may become a little wobbly on my end and your end also, just because I'm trying to find a specific model, but I'm not seeing it weirdly. Why not? Because your faces are covering it. So Zoom. Okay. There are no perfect solutions for web conferences, right? So I'm going to click. This is Luma AI. Luma AI was the first service to allow you to play with NeRFs. It's very easy to use. You can use an app or you can use the web version. Just film, upload, and the AI does the rest. And if things start to be a little wobbly, so what you are seeing is not a video, okay? You are seeing the point cloud and then the reconstruction. And if I stop, this is the Venus in the British Museum. If I stop, okay, so we're out of time. If I stop, you see that it's a 2D reconstruction. If I download this, you see everything that goes wrong with this. I look at this and I feel this is a new way to express, how can I say this? A new way to take photographies and maybe play around with 3D modeling, 3D printing.